as you may notice, I have 3 tennis balls, although the actual tennis part of the ball is not that important. Any type of object will work for what we're doing today, except for heavy objects, because we're not working on our strength for this drill. Today we're going to go over balance and why improving your balance is important. In almost every sport there's some balance component. In roller hockey, inline hockey, whatever you want to call it, or hockey in general, when you're getting bumped by people, you maintain your balance of learning how to adjust without falling over. Basketball, people are constantly jockeying for position. They're trying to knock you over, and how you adjust your position and maintain your center of gravity, sort of AKA also known as your balance, is important. In volleyball, being able to land in balance and then re-jump in balance, as we've been talking about all week, is important. How you maintain your balance will improve your ability to be powerful and use your strength, because when your balance comes natural, you're almost like giving less energy to think about it. It just becomes second nature. All right, so first thing we want you to understand is there is a difference between balance and stability. Stability is your ankles realizing where they're adjusting to and then trying to readjust to keep you upright. A lot of stability work is done on unstable surfaces, such as on a BOSU, your balance pad, on your gym balls, and those are usually about stability. If you're not moving, you're just adjusting, that's usually stability work. Balance is more so getting your center of gravity directly over your base of support, usually your feet. Real quick, base of support is any structure that is a support structure for your body. If your hand is resting on the wall, your hand now becomes a base of support. If your feet are touching the floor, they're now your base structure, your structure support, all right, on the ground, okay? All right, so when you're moving, as your bases of support adjust, you're trying to keep your center of gravity directly over those bases of support, okay? So that's why sometimes when we go with a wider stance, a wider base of support means we're generally better balanced, which is why this can become a problem. We have a less wide or a more narrow base of support, we're easier to push over. When we get defensive and we're wider, we can still be quick, but we also have a better balance. We can go this way easily, this way, forward, backwards, all of those are options, and we're still balanced. Because as I come here, I have this as my center of gravity. Now you'll notice you naturally sort of allow for opposite reactionary movements, known as displacement. So a lot of times what some people might consider a cheat move during a curl, if you're curling like this and you sort of lean back, that's actually displacement. We have a natural desire to maintain our balance. So generally, if we're moving in one direction, we will move something in the opposite direction to maintain that natural balance point, okay? When you're carrying a heavy box, you tend to do this, right? When you're carrying a heavy bucket, you tend to lean away from it. Depending on how heavy, you might lean into it, because if you lean into it, your hip will shift the opposite way. You'll have some type of body part go the opposite positioning of the balance, okay? We're getting a little bit too in-depth on what balance is because we're trying to do some cool, fun drills today. So we have 3 tennis balls. Whether you use 1, whether you use 2, or whether you use 100, it's really up to you. It's just for the object of what we're trying to pick up. Because the exercise we're going to demo that is one of our favorites is ball pickups, single leg. we are going to demonstrate this. We use it as a warm-up, as part of our skill acquisition warm-ups. So with our programs, we tend to start with a little bit of catching drills to kind of warm the brain up, warm the eyes up, and warm the hands up. Then we add a little bit more movement with those catching drills. Then we get into our balance. Then we program our mobility for body part warm-ups. And then we get into our speed and athletic performance training. But we generally start with some form of balance work. Okay? So with that being said, let's do some demos. So let's say I just have the one ball. Put these in my pocket, I'm good to go. We're going to do a balance pickup, which there is no limitations on where the ball is. There's no limitations on where you are. All of those become options if you're just trying to improve. And what do I mean by that? I can be right on top of the ball with the ball at my foot. I can be farther away where I have to reach farther. The ball can be directly in front of me. The ball can be off to the side. I can reach with the same hand. I can reach with the opposite hand. Remember, the general rule of prescribing programming for athletes and clients in general is have a reason why. So, if you're reaching and planting close, it's because it's less of a reaching balance if that's your why. If I'm farther away, it's less of a leg balance position and more of a reaching adjusting position, and if I'm purposely doing that, that's my reason why. If I'm starting way over here, it's more of a rotational balance control, and that could be my reason why. All right? So have that reason why, and you'll be one step ahead of the game as far as understanding where your workouts will get you to. All right, so I'm going to place my foot behind the ball, just because it's one of the examples. As I bend forward, my center of gravity shifts this direction, which means I want to displace something in the opposite direction. Where a lot of times people go wrong with their balance training is they try to maintain a close position, and they make it unrealistic and more difficult by doing this. Well, that's not really working on balance training as it is working on a little bit of strength training, because instead of working on a balance position, I'm just trying to turn it into a little bit of a cheat squat, okay? So, if part of you moves in one direction, part of you needs to move in the opposite direction, okay? So, as I go down, this leg will pendulum up in the opposite direction. Okay? Then I can put the ball down. I can put the ball in the same exact spot, or I can put it down in a different spot. Okay? Remember, those are options. We tend to say let the athlete do a few in a row to kind of get good at it, instead of just adding a ton of variety just for variety's sake. Let athletes get good at something, at least let them finish on a win, so to speak. We don't want to frustrate athletes to where they really are doing something poorly. Success breeds success, as they say, and that confidence of doing something good allows them to continue being happy, I guess, and working hard. All right, so remember, let them be successful. Still make stuff challenging, but let them be successful. All right, so pick up, put it back down. I'm going to put it in a different area just so that I have to work on a different put down, but now I have to work on a different pickup. So now I have a little bit of more rotational. So all of these guys are adjusting accordingly. Now you also notice my leg is moving a little bit more backward. There you go. So you're training your body to learn how to sort of take hits or adjustments from certain awkward, different positionals. You should make things fun. You should make things challenging and understand, really cue your athletes when things are challenging. You're never going to be 100% successful. And if something is a drill that you're doing that you're 100% successful at, it's not a difficult enough skill and it's time to progress. So how do we do that? Well, once we've mastered one ball pickups, add other objects. Okay, so now I can go to one of three objects, pick it up, and now I just have to move it somewhere different. So now, instead of it being allowed to focus on one exact up and down movement, I have to adjust for all these possible movements. Okay, now, once you get really good and you can do all these easily, you can do something like switching hands and putting it down with a different hand, which is a different challenge. Opposite hand pickup. Now I can make it really difficult and put it behind me. And then if I really want to, I can make it super difficult and have to close my eyes. Okay? So if I close my eyes, I instantly lose part of my visual recognition, as we call it, which makes it more difficult. You can't probably see that my right eye is closed or my left eye, but our information gathering system of our brain, our visual, our touch, okay, our sense of awareness, are all objects that we need to train as well. Different subject, different day. But closing one eye, even closing both eyes if possible, make things more difficult and therefore make it more of a challenge. All right? Remember, with athletes, we want them to be successful. We want them to work on drills that improve their sport, but we want to make things challenging enough to where they aren't 100% successful, but still make things fun. All right? General rules for working with kids is make things fun, make it challenging, and let them be successful while they're doing it. All right? That's some balance work today. Just using one object. It could be any object. We just happen to have tennis balls because we do a lot of tennis ball work for our catching skills. You guys could use volleyballs. If you can pick basketballs up, you can pick a basketball with two hands. Still working on the lower body component of those moves. All of those are fine. But this drill is a balanced pickup. We call it one ball pickups. All right? Have fun. Try it out. Use it as part of your warm up because it'll really get the muscles firing, get that mind-muscle connection going, and you'll notice your athletes instantly start improving their athleticism because their balance is getting better. All right? That's all I have today. I'm Spencer Aiken with the Stronger Together Performance Academy. If you do have any questions, please let us know. We're always here to help. Thank you, guys.